Hi everyone and welcome to episode 308 of the Mighty Whites podcast. I'm Jack, as always joined by Casey.
Nail it.
That was fun.
Yeah, it's good. I could get used to this. I quite like Monday Night Football. I can see why the Americans have really invested in it.
Yeah, and when you win, like it doesn't really matter when the fixture is, does it? Then
I think, and I don't know if it would do any good for any of my vital statistics, but I could really get used to fucking a game.
What are you nowadays? 36, 24, 36? I don't even know which one is which on that. I just know that that's roughly the format. I might have just described a Barbie doll with you or something. I have no idea.
Hey, it took some little girl's eyes out. Yeah, basically we could just, ignore a game for 30 minutes. You know what? An hour. Let the other team have a goal and just play from there.
So you are suggesting Leeds do Homer Simpson the boxer?
Yeah.
And then next season when we play like Liverpool, it's going to be when we fight Dredrick Tatum.
Oh yeah, that'll be horrendous.
Ilya Gruev getting airlifted out by a man with a fan.
Who would be the fan there?
Well, I mean, Farker.
I suppose, yeah, he is. Mo is his manager, so yeah.
Right. So that's probably the best way to split it. So the opening 25 minutes, Sheffield United came out of the blocks really quickly, which we thought they would, but Leeds struggled with it a bit more than we probably thought that they would. Lots of mistakes all through the team, giving the ball away, not getting tight, crosses putting Meslier under pressure, and Meslier visibly struggling to deal with it. Like, he dropped a couple, including one that would have been an own goal, but for a really good clearance off the line from Gruev. There's a lot of people saying that was a foul on Meslier that wasn't given. And maybe it was, but I'd call that quite soft goalkeeping. Like, you might get the foul. And I reckon more than 50% of the time you probably will get the foul. But still, you want your keeper to be stronger than that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think there's a bit of an arm across him, but I really didn't think so. And then the fact he ends up tipping it towards his own goal, which we'll come back to that later as well.
Yeah.
Like you say, the first one that went in, that's 3-4 minutes into the game, he drops, catches it, fumbles it again whilst on the floor, and then gets it again. And at this point, after the second one, there is probably going, it's going to be one of those nights, I see.
Yeah.
And all of us, because I think watching Meslier in that one, it almost became, no, I can go out to a cross. And you're like, mate, just stay home. Just stay on your line. It's fine. Kiefer Moore is not on this football pitch.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll wait until it's 3-1 to bring him on, or the management. So, yeah, he's having a bit of a nightmare. He's passed a couple out of play, stuff like that. The goal itself, I haven't actually gone back and checked. I think it's Brereton Diaz that puts the cross in. Leeds don't get tight to him at all and just give him all the freedom in the world to cross it. Callum O'Hare's header, no one near him. Not good. Really good header. And to be fair, fantastic save from Illan Meslier. Like, tips it onto the bar. It's an absolute worldie of a save. Tyrese Campbell has a tap in, which he misses. Just heads it against the post. It's not going in. Meslier can't sort either his feet or his hands out and just sort of slides and palms it into his own goal. It's one of them. I've heard readings from he's a bit unlucky to it's the worst piece of goalkeeping we've ever seen. It's neither of those things, but I would go as far as to say it's not very good.
Yeah, I think the best I can try to explain it when it happens, I think he's trying to put his right arm down and then realizes that's where the ball's going. So he then tries to do something with the ball. That I'm still not into. There's a question mark at that point.
Yeah.
And then just wrists it in to his own net.
Yeah, I mean, when it first happened, I was very frustrated because the truth, for a long time when you saw sort of, for instance, the run of really bad games Luke Ayling had, it took a while for everyone to start pointing it out because he had so much credit in the bank. Whereas Meslier does something like this and he hasn't really got that credit in the bank, so it turns straight away. But there is one thing where, and it's nice, but this is a way it's really nice to be wrong. I said in the pub, very loudly talking about Meslier, one of the major problems with Meslier is that when he has a fuck up like this, he never recovers from it. He always just looks shell-shocked for the rest of the game and no one can trust him. And once that opening 25 minutes was over, he actually had a pretty good game. He made good saves. He got off his line well. His passing was simple, but kept it clean. And that was the really good thing because he made a couple of pretty good saves after that. And my worry was that we were going to see, the end of the Premier League season where we got relegated Meslier, where once his head was gone, just get shots on target and that's basically it. And we didn't. I think he actually recovered really well.
Yeah, I think there was, like you said, there was the slightly dicey coming out to the edge of his box. The brief moment where you thought, having seen what he'd done in the first sort of 15 minutes, he's definitely sliding out of the penalty area here with this in his hands.
Yeah, but once he doesn't, it's good goalkeeping.
But stopped dead on the line.
Yeah,
yeah, like you're saying, and I think he did stop coming for crosses because I think there was the realization that actually he didn't need to. Like, if I could have understood it more if they were a massive aerial threat, but I didn't think they were, especially. Like you say, the header early on was down to poor marking.
Yeah, I mean, Callum O'Hare will be what? 5'9". He's not big.
Yeah, like so and I think fortunately as well, as the game wore on, I think we got ourselves, pulled ourselves together a bit.
Yeah.
And sort of regained our shape. And whilst I'd probably say for most of the first half, we were a bit poor, I think by the end of it, we were at least starting to string a few passes together. There was a couple of chances in there that weren't great. You have that Solomon chance where he cuts inside on his right and curls it pretty much straight to the keeper. And
yeah, well Solomon had two, didn't he? And both of them were from really good passes from Stroud.
Yeah. There is, I think one of them, Pirou just turns and gives him a look of, no, you give that to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got into it, I think, more as the game went on, and I'd probably say by the end of the second half, didn't look nearly as threatening as they had started the game. But I think that's more down to us actually getting to grips with it.
Yeah. That's it. We did get those couple of chances at the end of the first half and start to get back into it. But like at half time, it wasn't unreasonable that they were ahead. They'd probably had the better of the first half. But in the second half, they had very little, to be honest. Like, I can't remember what the exact number was. I think their XG in the second half was about 0.1. Like, they really didn't have much at all. Start of the half, we were better than them, but not getting that far. But then 58 minutes, Joseph for Aronson, Pirou sort of to 10, but they seem to function more as a front two, to be honest, in this game. And Rothwell for Gruev. I think Rothwell came on and did well again, and I thought Gruev didn't have a particularly good game again, other than the clearance off the line, which was excellent. We'll talk about it more later, but I think that's probably done enough to make my mind up that it should be Rothwell in for the next game.
Yeah, again, it was not the performance you wanted from Gruev, and it's a couple of those back to back now. I know we hadn't actually mentioned there that obviously sort of thought it was more likely looking to be Ampadu back in the starting lineup, but he then is out with an injury.
Yeah. Have you seen the stuff from the press conference today about that? Because I might as well talk about it.
Nothing.
Right. Ampadu, they are taking, quote, the conservative approach with him. So they're going to defund public sector. No, they're not doing the surgery. They're going to do rehab, which makes it 4 to 6 weeks, I think it was. But they're not sure if it'll work. But they're basically trying it by the sounds of it, because if he has the surgery, he's out for the season. If he tries to rehab it for 3 weeks and then needs the surgery, he's still out for the season.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they're going to take the chance on it, I think. But my worry, as always, with that is we've heard this, he doesn't actually need the surgery, it turns out, before. And then all that happens is we have the surgery 5 weeks later and they end up being out for 6 months.
All it turns out is that Adam Forshaw absolutely needed the surgery.
Yeah.
That Pascal Strauch definitely needed the surgery.
Yeah. Max
Verber always needs the surgery.
Yeah. He's having surgery right now. And loving it.
Yeah. So, and I think that was the harsh part of it as well. Whilst I wasn't surprised that Farke went with Gruev in this situation, because playing second in the table, of course, he's going to go with two more defensive-minded midfielders. It was very harsh on Rothwell for the impact he'd had on the game at Sunderland. Yeah. So, yeah, I think after that, like you say, I think it will be Rothwell sort of going forward.
And although West Brom's still a tough game, it in theory isn't as tough as Sheffield United away.
Yeah. But yeah, it was quite nice seeing, I think, and we'll come on to it, but I thought it was quite interesting seeing that Nonto was the preferred choice coming off the bench versus the winger. But I thought it was really good to see him in that game because he looked confident, was driving at players. I thought his decision making was good. And outside of Cardiff, which I don't know if you can even really count it, it's probably his best performance since about October.
Well, even though it was only 10 minutes, it was like something for it.
Yeah, I mean, you look at most of the games where he's come on, it has been 10, 15 minutes of chuck him on, we need a goal here. And most of the time, I don't think he never really properly got into those games because you don't have the time to for the most part. Whereas in this one, I just thought he made quite a nice impact on it. Cool. And I think it's much needed for him because for how the last 18 months have been for him of, veering from you're starting every week for a Premier League team to I want to leave to no, you're the sub now to Dan James and Crescencio Somerville. Get yourself back in the team, start out this season, lose your form, and then just fall back out the team again. It's been a rough... And, he's, still 19? 20?
I mean, sure, he must be 21 by now.
16,
Yeah, he turned 21 in November.
Okay.
So, yeah, he is still young. We do forget still how young he is, don't we? Because he's been playing for so long.
Yeah, so I think it was good for him to have that because it was a case of... I still think you're going to see Solomon and James starting most weeks now till the end of the season. I think they're the two.
Yeah.
But I think Nonto's put himself in a decent position for at least coming on earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just grew into this. We just kept getting better in the second half.
Yeah. After those subs on 58, especially, I think that we did. We had a couple of decent chances. There was a Firpo header from a Tanaka cross that went over. And then there was a bit of a goal mouth scramble at a corner where one got blocked, then Roden's shot got blocked, and then Joseph put a pretty decent chance over. It was a bouncing ball, but he didn't strike it great. And it's one where he would back himself to do better. But then 72nd minute, Leeds equalise. In I've seen it a few times now, and what I think might be one of my favourite goals of the season. Dan James just shifts it to the right to make some space and stands up a really good cross. And Junior Firpo attacks it so perfectly. Like, he comes in, he's ahead of his man, jumps well, powerful header, back where it came from into that corner, past Michael Cooper. It's a really great goal. But when you watch it back, because it's on the angle, because of where the hard camera is, you can watch Firpo's run the entire way. And he slows it up so it doesn't arrive too early, sets off at the right time to beat his man. I swear to God, it's basically Alan Shearer. Like, it's so good. The instincts for the run, the timing of it, and the header itself are absolutely fantastic. And and because there's also just something so fundamentally likable about Firpo anyway, it's up there for one of my favourite goals we've scored this season.
Yeah, it's a like I say, it's a really well taken header, and again, it was just quite nice to finally see the machine properly working. Like it was like it had got back up to speed. And yeah, I just thought by that point we fully deserved to get something from it.
Oh, by that point, we definitely deserved to be at level. And we looked the better side. And I bet neutrals watching thought, there's only one winner here. Despite, I mean, I put on our Twitter, I will gladly have the final whistle right now. And I meant it. And I said the same thing with, like, when the stoppage time board went up against Sunderland. I was like, oh, that's fine, actually. Yeah, that keeps us in a good position. But Leeds kept pushing on, and Sheffield United offered very, very little by this point. I mean, they'd made a couple of subs as well. But, like, I mean, Hamza Chowdhury came on for Harry Clark. That didn't really do much. Tom Cannon came on for Jesu and Raksaki, and I didn't think either one of them did much. Gus Harmer came on, and there's no way he's fit. Like, he didn't look it in any way, shape, or form. Like, they had Vinicius Souza in midfield, and in the first half, he was pretty good. He was probably the best player on the pitch in the first half. But he dropped off a bit as well. So in the second half, it did look like all us. On 83rd minute, we got Nonto for Solomon. And then very late on, Nonto went close with a belting effort from outside the box. Really good save from Michael Cooper. And when that got tipped over, it was when they thought, I think that was it. I think that was the big chance. From that corner, Rothwell swings it in. Firpo flicks it onto the far post, although in real time, I was certain it was Strauch that had got his head on it, but no, definitely Firpo. And Altenacker sort of ducks down to cushion a header lobbed over the keeper into the far top corner, just too high for Zadie Peck to head it away. And, well, I mean, the away end will have been even better, but in the tap room of the pub, bedlam.
Brilliant. You could do it every week. It's great. Like, yeah, it's. God bless Joe Rothwell and his ability to take, if nothing else, an entirely reasonable corner.
I'm not surprised that the two men attacking it, though, were Strauch and Firpo. Because Roden is probably better at getting his head to a ball than Firpo. But I think Firpo's better in the air than Roden is.
Yeah, it's a good, like I say, it's a good header down from Firpo. And yeah, squatting, looping header really back across goal. Let's say, do you say it was a Peck that's on the line? And it's
at least I'm 90% sure it was. I've seen one replay back, and I'm sure it was number 42. And even if it wasn't 42, he was the only one that was number 40 anything.
Yeah.
So I think it must have been him.
But yeah, one of those where they get the touch on it, but it's already hitting the underside of the crossbar already. Whatever you do to it, it's just going back in anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. God bless that man.
Yeah.
Love him.
Brilliant. And obviously, I've seen the highlights back a million times, but my favourite thing out of the highlights is Bryn Law's commentary for this goal. And I just love him shouting, Tanaka! Tanaka! Oh, it's brilliant. I kind of want it as my alarm.
I think that would be too intense of a way to wake up on a morning.
He'd have me up for it. let's go. Let's have this day. But yeah, the away end goes insane. Celebrations with people wheeling the wheelchairs forward into the celebrations, which is just chef's kiss. Wonderful to see. Everyone getting involved, and the celebration goes on that long and that aggressive, that both in the pub and in the ground. But by the time the coverage sort of cuts back to live, Dan James is keeping the ball in on the right touchline, passes it to Joe Peru, who hits an absolute thunder bastard pass back for 3-1.
Yeah, I've no memory of a kickoff taking place. The ball just, the game just apparates to the right hand side.
Yeah, it never showed it on the TV. Well, I ran for a piss, didn't I? And came back, and they were still showing the celebrations, and then it was Dan James.
Yeah, it was great because it is a minute later. So what is it? A 90th and 91st minute that we get these goals, and like you say, Peru he just turns, seems to have a couple of yards of space, and just absolutely leathers it.
Yeah, because it's not right in the corner, and it's near side for Cooper, so in theory it should be the easier one to get to, but it's just hit that hard. But you don't really have any time to react.
It was great. And then Kiefer Moore came on.
Yeah, and then you know, that's when it was important to get your big man on. Yeah, Wilder, what did you make us struggle with? You were getting the ball into the box. That's what we were struggling with. Just get the guy who's 6'6" on.
Put him on out. To be honest, once you've seen Meslier drop those couple of crosses, put him on then. I know it'd be harsh to someone, but stick him on after 15 minutes. It's like, Kiefer, we've got a game for you, son.
Yeah. Yeah, what a fantastic win. Like, the number of times we said, to be honest, Sunderland and Sheffield United Monday night games, even if you don't get beaten either of them, 2 points isn't a disaster. 4 points is what you want. If you get 4 points, you've done brilliantly. 6 is pretty good. Like 6 when you've been ahead for a total of 5 minutes.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. Like that, it's the sorts of results that get you promoted.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's the sort of thing you do when you play like we are at the moment. I would probably say if you're a Sheffield United fan or a Sunderland fan, I think both would probably come away disappointed. Not just because they've both lost those games in the last minute, but I think because in both games, if they'd have gone for it, like if they'd have seen, like when we weren't playing well, I think if they'd have actually pushed and gone for it, either one of those could have got something from those games. You know, certainly with how Meslier was in that first half, if they'd have looked at how that was going and thought, right, if we really press them here, we can probably get a second. But I just never really felt that they did that. And then by the time we got into the game, they struggled to regain any authority. So yeah, and it's really nice when you look at the league table as well, because there's that red cross next to Sheffield United, and you're just like, that's us. That.
Yeah. So everyone's played 34 now. Leeds top 75 points, a plus 50 goal difference, which is quite good. Sheffield United second on 70, Burnley third on 68. We are now 13 points clear of Sunderland. So you're mostly looking at the top 3 now, I would say. I saw Burnley fans fuming that we'd won, and I honestly think I think us winning was probably a decent result for Burnley, because they should be looking at what is the gap to promotion. and us winning makes the gap smaller to promotion than it would be for any other result. So I don't think we should be too annoyed. As for the game itself, obviously, there's a few players we've already talked about. Like Dan James was really busy all game again. I don't think it was his best game, but he got 2 assists again. And it was a tremendous cross for the Liverpool one. The Peru one's a bit weird because it's a 5-yard sideways pass that anyone could play, and then Peru smashes one in. But the cross for Firpo is a belting cross. Obviously, Firpo, the goal, the knockdown itself is just attacking the corner well, but the goal is outstanding. And the other one that he had from Tanaka's cross was a really good run. So fullback's really good. I thought Bogle did well, but not one of his more outstanding games. But I was very pleased with him because he was getting dogs abuse off the Sheffield United fans. So really good to see it. But the main things that I wanted to talk about in terms of individual players was I know Ampadu being out is a problem, and it's a real shame. And I think as midfield, I'd be stronger with it. But God, I'd prefer having Roden and Strauch at the back. I really do. And it's not even a slight on Ampadu. Like, Ampadu is a good centre-back, but he's a better midfielder. Having Roden and Strauch, that's centre-backs.
Yeah.
I just hope they can both stay fit, because now that Ampadu is injured, if one of them did get injured, it is a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, I mean, ring the bell, because I'm going to say, I do, there is a reason why Marcelo Bielsa looked at Pascal Strauch and went, no, you can play, you can be my holding midfielder. Because he's got the passing range for it.
Yeah.
And certainly in the Championship, I think he's got fantastic range of passing for this division. That I don't think Ethan Ampadu probably does. And in terms of probably your longer range passing.
Yeah, Ampadu's long passing is, I think his long passing is what I think Strauch's really good at is those 15 to 20 yard balls. Just playing one up the line, playing one up into midfield. I think that's where his strength is. But I also just think having right foot, left foot helps massively. Before Bielsa, I never gave a shit about that at centre back. And ever since, I'm like, I think it makes a great difference now.
Yeah, and I think the flip side of it as well is, I think you get back to Rothwell and Tanaka, who have by far and away played more games together in midfield than any other combination we've had, and I think they look like a very good partnership. I think I said to you at the time when Ampadu was coming back in, and Grove was coming back in, like I will be a bit sad to break up that partnership, because I do really like it. And again, I can see that being something that sticks now. Entirely dependent on Ampadu's recovery, but
yeah.
I think the saving grace is it's not the worst part of the season for him to get injured. If he'd have got injured,
if it keeps going well, it isn't.
If he got injured 3 weeks earlier, I'd have been much more concerned about it.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I think now that you've got through these 2 games and got the wins in both of them, West Brom are a good team, and I would obviously much rather have Ampadu available for that. I fully trust that central 4 of Tanaka, Rothwell, Strauch, and Roden. Like I think I've absolutely no concerns about those 4 going into that game.
Yeah, so I would definitely not have any worries with it, and that's what I think it will be. I do think Rothwell comes in for Gruev. I think the only thing that could change that is I thought Aronson was really quiet again. Now, I think first of all, I don't think he's going to change the front 4. I think he'll keep it the exact same. But if he was going to change it, I think that the 2 main options would be Nonto in for Aronson, or Rothwell plays for Aronson. But yeah, that's the only other thing that I could see as a potential happening. But I think he'll just leave the front 4 the exact same.
Yeah, I think so. I think again, it does pick itself at this point as quite as Aronson has been in these couple of games, where I don't think you can even really credit him for his off the ball work that much.
That was the thing with the Sheffield United game, and it may well, by the sounds of it, in the second half, I can't read much into that because I didn't hear this. But apparently Dan James gave an interview, and in the second half, Farke told him to ease off the press a little bit. Like, you don't sort of need to just get your shape a bit better so we can stop getting caught and it'll come to you. So it was probably deliberate that we didn't see as much of him off the ball. And he went off after, 58 minutes anyway. The other option, of course, would be to start Joseph and play Peru at 10, which, has played for 30 minutes now and scored 4 goals?
Yeah.
In not much time at all as a pair. So, we've looked good for it. But I don't think we can start a game like that while Bamford's injured. Because unless you're going to chuck Harry Gray on the bench, you don't have a sub-striker. I mean, you could play Monto, but he doesn't seem to fancy that.
Yeah. Just pick Big Joss up top.
Yeah.
Send it long, send it now.
You know what? If everything's gone to plan and we're up by then, last 10 minutes against Plymouth, sure. Yeah, you'll be away at the end of the season, Joss. Go play up front. But yeah, it puts us in a monumentally strong position, does this. And having played last in big games with all the pressure on us, we will now be playing first.
With all the pressure.
Oh, no, we won't. Shit. Sunderland don't count anymore. They're Friday.
He said it now.
Well, I'm not worrying about them for now. It would take us being crap and them being brilliant. I would say that every Sunderland fan I've seen isn't counting them in the automatic promotion race now, so we probably shouldn't. West Brom at home, Saturday, 12:30. It's a bit different to last time we played West Brom because it's Mowbray's West Brom instead of Corberan. Obviously, Corberan's West Brom were very stodgy, defended really well, weren't that far off Burnley in terms of number of 0-0s at that point. But since when did you take over? It was like late January for Mowbray, mid-January, 18th. Since then, when you look at them, they're not very consistent. Like they've lost at Borough, battered Portsmouth 5-1, lost at Plymouth, beat Sheff Wednesday, lost at home to Blackburn, drawn with Millwall and beat Oxford United. So since he took over, he's had 3 wins, 3 losses and 2 draws. And to be honest, the first draw can't really count because that was the day he took over.
Yeah.
So yeah, 3 wins, 3 losses and a draw. So they look less consistent. They're probably a bit more dangerous going forward, but definitely more susceptible at the back. Mowbray is less likely. He won't properly go at us, I don't think, because I don't think he's going to be Lampard about it and be an idiot. I think he'll just set him up in a functioning block, but with a bit more attacking intent than Corberan would have. Corberan would have just sat him on edge of box and gone, right, lads, 0-0. It appears to be, well, like just looking at their last few games, it's been a 4-2-3-1 every time. So I wouldn't expect that to change. They've got some good players, but nothing massively stand out. If Alex Mowatt is still going to be playing, like, is he? Where have they been actually starting him? Have they been doing him further forward? No, he's still playing as one of the centre mids. I love Alex Mowatt, but there's no legs.
The other thing I've seen from them as well is that Semi Ajayi is looking like he's going to be out for a few weeks.
Is he out injured too? Because I know that Josh Madger is apparently out.
Yeah, just seen. I think he picked up the injury. Oh, sorry, he got subbed against Oxford anyway. But yeah, he's been ruled out for several weeks. Right. which is a big one as well. See, literally in his case, because he was starting him and Sheridan against Oxford, him and Hegem at the back.
Yeah. I don't know if he still is, but when we played West Brom, which was was it second league game of the season? Because all we had, because we'd conceded 6 in the first 2, with one of them being the League Cup game, and that Hegem was already like a cult hero. They really loved him, but he's still in the team, so he must be okay. But I haven't watched enough to really know. But yeah, him and Mason Holgate, Darnell Furlong, he's been injured a fair bit, so that's good to see him fit. And Callum Styles has apparently been playing left back for them, because he was playing in midfield, but he's quite a good player. Because he's the Hungarian international.
Is that Hungarian international Callum Styles?
Yeah, it's one of my favourite things. That, by the way, I know that this is a very self-indulgent mention of a podcast, but on the FM save that I have sent over to you for us to both have a go at, I have signed a Tajikistan Wonder Kid, and I've never had one of them before. Jason Malumbi is probably going to be alongside Moat. They've managed to keep hold of Tom Fellows, who'll probably play off the right, and he looks pretty good. He was linked with a few Premier League clubs in January, but managed to keep hold of him. And Mikey Johnson on the left, the Scottish winger, he looks pretty good. And with Madja being out, because I think Armstrong has played out wide a few times, but with Madja being out, Adam Armstrong will play at number 9. You'd expect.
Adam Armstrong.
Yeah. We've also got Grady Diangana, who could play off the wing as well. They've still got Carlin Grant, who could play up front or wide. And that Will Lancashire, who I think is on loan from Spurs. I know that he gets up to be all right on FM, but I haven't seen out of him to really comment. But I believe he's a striker.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, same as always. They are, I mean, in this case, they are a good team, but again, I don't think there's anyone in there I'm swapping over. Well, who's the keeper, actually?
Joe Wildsmith, who is a solid championship keeper, but
maybe. God, we'd be better than Scott Parker's Burnley if we had a reasonable goalkeeper.
We are better than Scott Parker's Burnley. We've just conceded more goals.
Well,
we didn't mention him, but they've also got John Swift, who I've always liked.
Yeah.
That's who else they've got. They've still got Daryl DK, but I believe his legs are broken again. Because he looked really good when they got him.
Yeah,
I mean, he's been there. He's been there a couple of years now, hasn't he? But he's barely played. Yeah, he signed in 2022 and he's played 30 games for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. We've done this with a few other teams lately where we've gone player for player, and because we've been playing against Sunderland. I mean, Sunderland were the ones that we actually thought was the best, didn't we, in terms of the squad? Going, oh no, I'd have him, and I'd definitely have him, and I'd definitely have him. I would gladly have Adam Armstrong to sit on our bench and be a striker to come off the bench. But I wouldn't be that excited if we got him.
Yeah.
Their wingers are good, but not like that. Tom Fellows looks like he's got potential to get better, so maybe him, but no one's getting in team ahead of our wingers. Same goes for the fullbacks. And yeah, there isn't anyone that massively stands out. So, and are we just basically saying same team but Rothwell for Gruev?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I can't. That's what I expect it to be as well. So, because I said play for play were better than Sheffield United, and I did end up going for a win. Everyone went for a win except UKC, but no one got the right score. I've got a fancy us 2-0 win.
I'm going to go 2-1 win.
Benny has gone for the same as you. Alex has gone for the same as me. As always, Connie will message me something like 3 or 4-0 win, 2 hours before kickoff. He went 2-0 against Sheffield United. But yeah, I am at the stage where I can say I am confident. That doesn't mean I definitely think we're going up. But like, I'm not as confident as, say, the Opta model. Because
don't show me a model. I don't want to see a model.
The Opta model had us at, like, in terms of chance of top 2, it was like 98 point something %.
I've been hurt by these sorts of models previously.
Yeah, if you want to see, I didn't know this. I've only just checked. Sky Bet, which is the first bookie that came to hand, they have us up 1 to 12 to win the league. They are not taking bets on us to get promoted.
Well,
they're not even taking bets on us for the top 2.
I mean, what do we need? Is it 6 wins to match last year's total?
Yeah, it was something like, because I think it was. We need. What did we get last season? 90.
Was it 90?
Yeah, I believe it was 90.
Okay, to less than.
Yeah, so to get to 90 points, we would need 5 wins in 12 games. If we have I believe we're now at the stage where if we have the exact same disastrous finish that we had last season, we'd finish on 95 points. I mean, George Ellick was on the square ball this week, and they predicted us to win the league before the ball was kicked, and they've been fairly bullish on us all season, in a way that no Leeds fan could ever be, unless they'd only been supporting us for like a year. But he just kept saying Leeds by 10 points. That's all he kept saying, and other than Leeds fans with their pessimism, there was no logical reason why he wasn't right.
I mean, yeah, it is somewhat heading in that direction at this point. I don't want. I'm not going to go so far as to start looking at all the remaining fixtures and go, well, we've won that, we've won that, we've won that. Draw against Borough.
Because that's just not us, is it?
No, and you know, I don't want evidence to be used against me. But it's getting very hard not to just say, yeah, I think we've done it now.
Yeah. Whereas I know we've done it now. We haven't gone and made a big mistake. But we're not far off. The other games, Sheffield United are away at QPR Saturday 3 o'clock, and then Burnley are away at Cardiff on Tuesday night because they're still in the FA Cup. So they'll be playing Preston on Saturday. So, like, if we could beat West Brom and Sheffield United could get beat, that'd be awfully nice.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. But that will do us for episode 308 of the Mighty Whites podcast. We're starting to get confident to the stage where I think we both look a bit uncomfortable about it. So we will be back. Because we have like a week between games after this? Yeah, because it's Saturday the 1st, and then Portsmouth away is the Sunday lunchtime, isn't it?
Yeah.
So work depending, we'll probably try and do 2, like a post West Brom and then a pre Portsmouth.
Yeah.
But that depends entirely on work schedules and stuff, so we'll have to see what happens. But until then, I've been Jax here.